I'm Lisa Gable, and I have had amazing opportunities. At the age of 19, I went to work for the Reagan administration, and I worked at the White House and the Pentagon. At the age of 24, I was recruited to Intel Corporation by the man who had become CEO and chairman. At the age of 30, I had the honorary rank of a 3-star general. When I was vice chair of a Department of Defense commission, helping women become better integrated into the military and giving them more opportunities. And at the age of 40, I became a U.S. ambassador. However, today, I'm tasked with solving a very complex problem: food allergies, something that affects 85 million Americans and 500 million people around the world. What I learned from Ingenuity is to always demand unity of purpose. What I learned from former Air Force Secretary Barbara Barrett is always replace yourself with another woman when you're going out of a high-level position. Because women helping women is how we're going to solve the tough problems, whether it's giving voice to our food allergy moms or mentoring our rising leaders. And that's the purpose of this inspiring interview series. Resilience, diligence, optimism, those are the defining characteristics of the women I'm going to introduce you to. So welcome to Breakthrough. Today's episode is about back to school by sparking imagination and intellectual curiosity, emotional well-being, physical health, and social development of the whole child. Joining me today is Dr. Jovan Wells, the founder and CEO of STEAMspark Montessori Experience. Dr. Wells is an innovative, collaborative, and results-oriented educator with over 20 years of experience transforming the education system. She emerged as a national leader in science, technology, and engineering and math education, also known as STEM, when she served as principal of a prestigious School of Science and Engineering in Dallas, which was ranked the #1 best public high school in America by Newsweek and the Washington Post in 2011, and received the Distinguished Intel School of Distinction Award in 2012 for the first time in the school's history. She has won numerous awards in STEM and STEAM, both locally and nationally. And most importantly to our fair audience, Dr. Wells prioritized food allergy training for her teachers and employees soon after launching STEAMspark. Dr. Wells, welcome. Tell us a little bit that I forgot to say about you.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Ms. Gable, for having us talk about STEAMspark in our training today. Of course, we love having Helen and Gable as one of our inaugural teachers at STEAMspark. She is incredible. Maybe one of our favorite teachers. The parents rave about her every day, and the students just gravitate to her naturally. So thank you for raising such a wonderful daughter, and we're just so delighted to have her on our team.
Well, we are delighted that she is on your team. As I told Dr. Wells and her husband, Byron, who is one of the co-founders of STEAMspark, that I was so thrilled that she had such an amazing couple to serve as her mentors in her first professional full-time setting. So it's been fantastic. And you have a daughter who's also incredible and is headed off to Stanford very soon. Tell us a little bit about her.
Yes, we're very proud. Blaine is my oldest child. She is heading off to Stanford in the fall. Actually, in September, they start school. And she has gone to the School of Science and Engineering, where I used to be the principal. She graduated from there in May. And of course, that school is known for the rigorous curriculum they put forth and really preparing students for college. And Stanford was, of course, her dream school. So we're so delighted that she got to go to that dream school and is getting ready to head off to the West Coast in a couple of weeks. So we hope to be out there and support her as she starts this new journey.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time for you and your family. And as everybody knows, my husband, Jim, went to Stanford. And so when he had an opportunity to push his preference on what school Blaine went to, it was always about Stanford. And we're looking forward to introducing you to our wonderful friends who still live in Northern California. So let's talk about being first to market. You have designed a new Montessori school, and it is something that in business, we always benchmark against best of class models. And you're really creating a whole new business model. Can you tell us 2 or 3 things that are unique about your business model, why it's important to today's society, and what you see as the greatest value you provide to growing families?
Yes, that's actually what we thought of when we've been working on this concept for, I would say, the last 20 years. I have 20 years in the field and really have looked at what are the best practices that we can offer for students early on as early learners, because of course we all know that is the foundation when we start to develop them as people and also their love of learning. And so the three things that I would say set us apart, number one is that we are founded by educators. The entire team, we have experience in public schools, in private schools. We have worked in all sorts of settings, especially Montessori schools, along with the STEAM background. And so that really brings a different perspective to delivering this type of opportunity for students. The other thing is we also focus on the talent that's in front of students. Like your daughter, our teachers are college degreed. Many of them are either earning their master's degree or have already earned a master's degree. And Helen Ann is one of them. She is pursuing her master's degree after graduating from Southern Methodist University. So top schools, we are recruiting talent from those universities to be able to teach our students. And then the other thing is we also prioritize that all of our students are really looked at as a whole child, not just instruction. We of course want to focus on quality curriculum instruction, but also social emotional learning and celebrating diversity. So we look for that in our staff hires as well as our school community. And so I think those things really set us apart from others. And we have seen it blossom even during these times.
I'm always amazed when I visited the school how many countries you have represented and how many kids may enter even to your classroom not speaking English very well or having English as something that they're still learning. And so it's been incredible seeing the diversity that you have both within your teachers as well as in your student population. It really adds a richness to this whole Montessori experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we celebrate that every day. And we hear that from our families as well, that that's something that they value. And the students that have come in only speaking their home language, specifically several in Helen Ann's class, they are fluent in English now. They have done so well in such a short time. So we're very proud of that.
Well, you should be. And one of the things I know you're proud of is that you focus on the emotional well-being, physical health, and emotional development of the child. And we so appreciate your prioritizing food allergies. And what we'd love to hear is why was it important to you? What did you learn through the FAIR training that your team may not have understood prior to the training?
You know, we are so fortunate to be able to participate in the FAIR training, and your team was very accommodating. We actually had to do it 2 different times so that we can make sure everyone was able to participate. But it really opened everyone's eyes to the severity of some of the food allergies and also the wide variety of allergies that are in play. And knowing that we serve a lot of students with allergies, I mean, if you see our list of allergies that we post in every classroom, because of course we want to make sure that we are accommodating those students, it was very eye-opening to some of the staff members, some of the consequences if we are not well trained, if we're not ready to act quickly with that EpiPen or whatever the case may be, and how important it is to also follow the plan that the doctors have laid out for us. And so it is a priority at STEAMspark, and it will be for years to come, that any student that walks into our door, we will continue having this type of training. It's high quality, but also making sure that everyone that comes in contact with our students are well prepared to take action if something were to occur.
Well, we greatly appreciate it because preschool is a place where it's the first time the parents have been separated from their children, and they go to the school with the knowledge that you're there, you're trained, and you're prepared to take the action and know what it is that you're supposed to do is truly such a relief for so many moms and dads. And we just thank you for being a model of not only the other aspects of emotional well-being and health that you practice with your school, but also with food allergies. And that leads me to another thought. You started this business, this school, during COVID-19, and that's had a tremendous impact on young children, how they perceive the world, the anxieties that they're developing that are not the norm for children of that age. What behaviors are you seeing as preschool children are entering the classroom without having the normal daily interactions with their peers? What causes you the most concern? And do you have any advice for our parents who are listening? Because our parents now are getting ready to send their kids back to school in many states where they haven't had the opportunity to do so, and they're nervous. So I would love to hear a little bit about what you're seeing and your thoughts as someone who's been in the education field for a long period of time.
And you know, that's something that we observe on a daily basis because we of course opened our school in October of 2020. So of course the pandemic was really right there happening. We were in quarantine. And what we saw with students coming to school even early on was that there was a reluctance to even enter an environment that they weren't familiar with people that they weren't familiar with. And as time has progressed, we've seen that continue. It may take students up to 2 to 3 weeks to really adjust to coming to school because they have been home with mom and dad for so long, and maybe only mom and dad or only grandpa and grandma. And so what we see is that they are very reluctant to even start to build relationships with others. And so what it takes is really that one-on-one, really getting to know the child, really starting to develop that bond with them so that they feel comfortable leaving their parents to come to school. But it is consistent. The one thing that's a silver lining that I see is like, I think of it as riding a bike. The students are like that when they begin, but as soon as they get around their friends and they start to form relationships with their teachers, they love coming to school. They don't want to leave to go home sometimes. And these are the same children that were, you know, crying coming in and things of that sort. So I think with a lot of love and nurturing that we can overcome anything. And even though we've gone through this thing that has never happened this century, right, in our lifetime, I do think that with the right supports that the students can overcome it and it will be a distant memory. But we need to continue to provide that support, that love and nurturing for those students so that they feel comfortable. It's what we talk about when we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They need to feel safe before they can learn. And so that's a priority at STEAMspark.
Well, it's a wonderful priority to have. And I think it's going to be a comfort to people who are listening to know that you all have been observing this reintegration process, and it does take a few days. And I think that's what always worries parents is especially if you see that anxiety for the first couple of days, you start to get concerned because you've been able to protect them. But I know from the phone calls I get and the texts that I get, because I do get the blow by blow of the day from Helen Ann on the students and how they're progressing. And I feel like I know their stories. And we just have to thank all of our teachers across the United States who are taking that extra care and knowing that it's going to be a bit of toughness at that first initial part, but they're going to be so excited when they get there. And I know when talking to the employees about their kids going back to summer camps and things, that the kids are loving being around other children. So we hope they get that opportunity. As we mentioned at the beginning of this, you are an amazing mentor. And I know that Helen Ann is so fortunate to have you, and work with you under your leadership. When you're mentoring people, what are the top 2 to 3 recommendations that you are giving to the young women and men that you mentor? And what do you tell them that this is going to be okay? It always happens. But what you need to do is perhaps adjust this direction. Give us a little more of your mentoring tips.
So one of my favorite things to share, of course, is always to what one of my mentors did for me. Where do you see yourself ending up in 5 to 10 years? Like, where do you think you're going to be? Because as a young teacher, of course, I hadn't thought that far. And so it forced me to really sit down and build out my goals and then start to put a plan into action. And one of the things that I tell everyone that is an investment in themselves is getting their education. So continuing on that path to earn your degrees, to get higher education, time in the seat, learning, being a lifelong learner, really. And so that is like my number one thing, because those degrees, getting those graduate degrees will be an investment in yourself, and they continue to pay you back years to come. And so that is like one of my biggest priorities, because most people will say, I want to become this, or I want to be here, but they haven't gone past the undergraduate experience. And so I tell them that the degrees and the knowledge and the experiences will open doors for you. And so why not? The time will pass anyway. So why not learn and invest in yourself during that time?
And maybe what you should tell our audience is something I know about you and about Byron, which is that the two of you have gone back to school a couple of times. In fact, I think that the ultimate business plan for STEAMspark is when the two of you were working on an MBA program together.
That is correct. Byron had already earned 2 other master's degrees, and I had also earned my doctorate and a master's. And we decided we would go together and get our MBAs at the University of Dallas, that was nearby. And we enjoyed every minute of it. We did a project for our one of our classes that really built out the model for STEAMspark. And our professor had some connections and said, "You should really pitch this." And that was the impetus. We actually started the business out of one of the study halls in the library there, with our study group. So it's a fond memory and one of the best decisions that we've made to go together to get those MBAs. And it comes in handy every day as we run the business and try to grow and expand.
Well, you are an amazing couple, and watching couples who go to college, who go off to an MBA program together while they're both working full time and raising 2 incredible children. But secondarily, the fact that you're running this business together is truly a testament to the strength of your relationship. And again, just a wonderful role model for the teachers and the kids who come under the umbrella of STEAMspark. So let's talk about the big 3 items, which is first and foremost, what women inspired you to break through?
Well, I would say, I had some really strong grandmothers that raised me. My mother was a high school graduate, and she, of course, had to work a lot. She's an amazing mom, inspired me a lot, and made sure that I had the best education opportunities, but also spent a lot of time with some wise ladies, my great grandparents and grandmothers. And they really made me believe that I could accomplish anything I put my mind to if I put the work in. And so what I got from them was my work ethic, and that I was never going to let myself down if I set a goal. That I love learning, so I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep growing and getting better. There's never going to be a time I say I know it all, because there's always people I can learn from. For you, you are one of those people, for example, being a CEO of FAIR, all of the things you've accomplished. The time we had dinner, I was just enthralled, and able to learn from some of the things you've done for other women. So I'm always looking for models like you, like my grandmothers, who really instill in young girls that you can do anything. You just put your mind to it and you put the hard work in, and it will work out for you.
Well, I appreciate it, and the respect is mutual because, as you know, I'm one of your biggest fans since I heard about you and since I looked you up. And my daughter had her interview over Zoom. All the interesting ways that people enter the workforce today. So, thank you for everything you're doing to help young women find their way. And along those lines, what are you doing to inspire the next generation of women leaders?
I saw an interesting post on LinkedIn because I frequent LinkedIn a lot. So I always see your posts and so excited about your new book that's coming out. But I saw something from another CEO, Sarah Blakey. She's the one who founded Spanx. And she said something that resonated with me. She said, make sure that you dedicate time to your daydream and use all your spare moments to be able to work on your daydream. Of course, we worked full-time jobs before we started STEAMspark, but every weekend or the evening time, we worked at that daydream until it became a reality. And so that's the one thing that I tell everyone. If you have a dream, just continue to work on it until it becomes your reality, because it is probably something that is meant for you as your purpose. And that's what I feel like STEAMspark is. I think it is my purpose to be able to provide this quality education for students early on and really set them on a path for success in the future. It gets me excited every day.
Well, our family doesn't think that you or Byron sleep at all, so we we are not surprised when you outline the weekends and the night times as you're working full-time jobs. And I also know that you all have other responsibilities and other work that you're doing as you're doing this amazing daydream of yours and bringing it to reality. What do you have as advice for young women who are watching that are trying to break through, or women who are re-entering the workforce? Because we know the re-entry into the workforce has been as challenging as many other aspects of COVID.
Yeah, I would say, to those women, that look for people like yourself. Look for people that have gone where you want to go. Look for those who have accomplished the goals that you have aspired to accomplish, and go and have lunch and set up that mentorship. Mentoring to me is the most important thing on our paths and our careers. Finding a mentor that has been where you want to go, to me, is one of the most valuable things, along with, continuing to grow and learn. Have thirst for knowledge. Look for conferences, look for literature that you can continue to read about things and just educate yourself. But I would say the one thing in my career has been mentoring, finding really quality mentors that you can call and just, here's an idea I have. What do you think about it? Oh, you've already been through this. What would you suggest? Those to me are the most valuable conversations I've had. And so that's what I would recommend. Finding a really good mentor or a group of mentors would be great.
Well, it's a great recommendation. And I know that it has lent to various women and to men to have someone that you can ask questions about those complex challenges that you're trying to solve for, and recognizing that perhaps someone hasn't been through COVID before, but maybe they've been through the loss of a spouse, or they've been through a divorce, or they've been through a period of time with a sick parent or a sick child. There are many bumps in the road. This has been probably one of the biggest boulders we've run into, but looking to people like you who've overcome different things at different points in times and still been successful is a wonderful message. And with that, I just have to say, thank you so much, Dr. Wells, for joining us today. We really appreciate having you.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this conversation and look forward to working with you for another training for our students coming up this year and our teachers.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you.